It kind of makes me wonder if we'll ever get to a point where people aren't chasing the next programming language. Because like all of us are happy using Go for all sorts of things. But I've already now, and Go's not even that old, but I've had people tell me who are prominent in the Go community that they feel like Go is dying and that some other language is the new thing. And I think they told me that, just for various reasons, but like I've heard it and it's like weird to hear because I'm like, Go is not that old. And like the amount of things that like PHP and Python are still powering is outright, and people still build stuff in those languages. So I'm like, why would Go just randomly die, all of a sudden? But I think part of that is that like hype thing where depending on the industry you're in, like as an example, if you create courses like I do, or if you do like corporate training, or if you do, like anything along those like along those lines where you're helping companies come up to speed with something new, I feel like you're almost enticed and encouraged to follow that hype train and like help produce more hype about something new, even if you know it's not better for the people that you're actually trying to help.
Yeah, I think this really does come back to like us as an industry being so extremely hype focused. I mean, it's literally everywhere. Like we're going through the AI hype cycle right now, where everybody's like, AI is gonna change how everything we do works, and it's like, yeah, there'll be change, but it's like it's not gonna revolutionize things in that way. I think like microservices was the same way, and event driven architecture was the same way, and I mean, in a way, probably agile was the same way back 20 years ago, where it's just kind of like, oh, this will be the one thing that fixes our problems. But I think, like, at the end of the day, our problem is that we're very bad at teaching people deep things as an industry. Like, my own journey trying to just like learn about distributed systems so I can teach other people about distributed systems has been like extremely challenging because, like, so much of the literature is very old. So that's an immediate bias that we have right now because I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, this book was published in 2015. It's too old. It's too irrelevant. We shouldn't be reading it." And some of the stuff I'm reading is from like 1980. But I think it's also that like it's sometimes tough to actually like really dig down and understand like the reasoning behind why you want to learn something or what relevance it really has. And I think the kind of underlying problem is not that like most people are doing this. I think it's fine if most people are chasing the hype cycle. Where I think the problem comes in is when the people that want to create the next foundational technology only understand surface level things. And I think that happens a lot where it's like, oh yeah, like I want to use like an example I'm dealing with around this right now is like with REST, where I'm like actually trying to like learn REST and I'm reading Roy Fielding's dissertation. And it's like, infuriating because the things he mentions, I'm like, hey, this is like, you could have written this yesterday and it'd be equally applicable to like our entire state of the world. So that feels kind of bad since it was written like a quarter century ago at this point, but also like just how brilliant of a design the system that underlines the web actually is. And then you contrast that with how quickly people want to throw out that design now because they have particular gripes with it, not understanding that that gripe is actually like a kind of a feature. It's not a bug, it's a feature of the system, and it enables all of this other stuff. And I think that those small features, that small bit of nuance, like often gets kind of papered over when people want to just be part of the hype cycle, or just kind of gets thrown out. And so people are like, oh, this thing, we need to get rid of this thing, we need to get rid of this problem. And the next set of people that are building things are just kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's the problem we have to solve, even though that's could be an unsolvable problem or not a problem that we should be focusing on. And I think like this I guess one of the reasons I brought this up is because when I look at Kafka or this kind of event driven architecture things, I see like what could have been with the web or with REST in general. Like this could have been built as a RESTful system and how powerful that would have been to have these systems within our organizations. But we just don't have that. And the reason we don't have that is because people don't understand what REST is or what these older technologies are. And reading and learning them requires you to go back and read a 160-page long dissertation from 2000, which is not what the majority of people in our industry are going to do. So I think that's like the the point of contention that we have at the moment.